social media overload.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I think I'm overloaded. I think we're all overloaded right now between
100%.
Instagram, Facebook, MySpace,
TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok's the big one right now.
What are the other? Let's go around the room here. We got Rob, Austin, Carla, Jason. The hashtags next to us, or not the hashtags, but the @ symbols
The
are our
hashtags?
Instagram. That's the other thing. Like social media overload. I'm like everything in my life is like hashtags or @ symbols.
Yeah.
So we're talking about social media overload, cancel culture. Tonight we're planning on bringing up the latest scandal, the Black Rifle Coffee Company. We'll definitely talk about that, and we'll talk about the origins of social media. And then, but right now, man, look at our eyes, all of us. Like we're right before we got on here. It's from this damn computers and stuff, man. How much of the day do you spend on social media, Carla?
Way too much.
A few hours, to say the least. I should check, actually. You know how on Instagram you can check how many hours you've been on it?
Do it. While you do that, I'm going to go around to Austin and Rob. You guys, it's a little bit different. And that's one other thing I need to bring up tonight. It's a lot different between the three of us and Carla when it comes to social media. And we'll get to that in a little while. But so what, Carla, what's the average hours there?
Today is 3 hours and 21 minutes.
And your day's not even
Usually
over.
it's 1 hour. So today is one of those days.
Now, you see, the reason I'm picking on Carla, not even really picking on her, is because so Rob, me, Austin, we have podcasts. And so the main reason I use social media is so I could promote, quote unquote, my brand, my show, and other things to try to drive traffic to that podcast. And that entails, like, I kind of look at social media as like a business platform for me.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about that? I know Rob's the same way. Like Rob's travel
Yeah.
still pushes traffic back towards, Save Our Six or Fight Like Hell.
Yeah, it definitely. It's kind of frustrating, to be honest, just because of the fact that I have my personal page that's pretty popular, just because I do a lot of outdoorsy stuff. I have a page for Allie, who I don't even really manage that much anymore. I'm running a social media account for the Utah Wounded Warrior Hockey Program, plus Save Our Six, and then Fight Like Hell on top of that. So I have to always try to figure out a way to like do it so it's going to hit every platform. So typically I'll do stuff from my personal account and I'll just tag the companies or organizations that I need to shout out and then just go share it there, because then it hits Facebook, it hits my personal account, and it hits the business accounts.
How many I'm trying to, like, as we're doing this, I'm looking on Instagram to ensure that people are watching us on this platform. We're streaming. We're doing a little something different tonight. We're streaming to my Facebook and YouTube. So that's 2.
Okay.
Then we got we're all over the place tonight. But then it's like, it's all over, man. I'm looking over here. I'm running 4 different Instagram accounts. One I started for my daughter for Cicada Life. Kind of phased out of that. But I got the Protector Life for like some more branding stuff later on if I want it. I got a Protector's Book Club. And then I got, Dr. Jason Piccolo. And I would have taken Jason Piccolo, but he turns out to be a producer. So, and maybe a felon. But how many social media accounts are you all running at one time? And I'm not even talking my 2 or 3 Facebook pages, LinkedIn, YouTube channels.
Too many.
It's like 10 different things.
I feel you. I have 3 Instagrams, and then I have 2 Facebook. My personal Facebook plus my business Facebook, plus YouTube plus TikTok and everything else.
And you're helping run Save Our Six too.
Yeah,
You're
and then I help Rob too. So
one of our admins. So
I always forget about TikTok. I forget about
yeah, I spend way too much time on TikTok. I spend at least a couple of hours a day on TikTok.
Yeah, do you
just scrolling through videos?
Snapchat.
Snapchat.
The only reason I use Snapchat is to talk to Rob. Only reason I use Snapchat.
What else is out there?
Before Rob, I never used Snapchat.
Carla can't even figure it out. She's at like
No,
60.
I only have like 2 accounts to be honest, and I only use the main one, which is my personal one.
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny because I'm the old guy in the group, and we're streaming to Facebook tonight. And I see my
Oh,
old
you-
brother jumping on there, Hansel
Is that your,
Gretel.
is that your
Piccolo.
brother?
Oh,
Yeah, because they have 2
Hello there.
dogs, Hansel Gretel. Hello, Hansel Gretel Piccolo. But yeah, but it's the thing is like when I initially started. Now let's go to the Wayback Machine. Let's go back to social media, and this is even before MySpace when it was message boards. That's where it started. That's where that little seed, like, hey, you know what? I could have really good contact with people.
Yeah.
And then they started this classmates.com. Then
Mhm.
you'd have to pay a subscription to try to link up with people. Then MySpace. Let's
Yeah.
talk MySpace.
So
Carla,
one of
did
the
you even
one-
have a MySpace?
Oh, I did. I was like in middle school. It was outrageous. I loved it.
And then one of the things that me and Rob brought up on our podcast was just with the rise and fall of technology was like AOL chat rooms.
Yeah, that was
because-
like one of the first.
Yeah, those were huge, and because that was your first real way to communicate with a whole bunch of people was the whole AOL chat rooms.
A chat room. Where, you know, I love the communication aspect of it. Like, you know, being in the older, I'm not saying even just being older, I'm just saying even Carla, we don't hang out with a lot of people anymore. So now you kind of feel like this social connection. It's like, and then it's like, then there's a downfall of that. And we'll get into the downfall later on.
Hell, I've made
Well-
more friends online than I've made in real life, in
Right.
person.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I've made some of my best friends online.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
the
look at
4 of us.
Rob.
Yeah. We probably never would have talked if it wasn't for social media.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, all
I mean,
four of us.
I wouldn't have this company if it wasn't for social media.
Same.
So where does the dilemma start? Where did it go wrong? I still have yet to see the Social Dilemma movie. Have any of you seen it?
You have to
Yeah.
watch it.
I haven't
It's-
seen
It's
it.
great.
It's good.
Is
It'll make you kind of rethink a little bit, but I mean, like a lot of it's common sense too. It's just they're harvesting our data by giving us free
Obviously.
services, and yeah, it was interesting. I saw it when it first came out, so it's not like fresh in my brain, but
Well, you know, the other thing about this harvesting the data is the data's out there. And, you know, we could have, that's another conversation. That's a show we need to have up, data mining and harvesting and everything that's out there. But, you know, that we're willingly giving this. So when I first started this whole, you know, coming out into the public and doing my thing, I used to use Facebook. I used to use Instagram just to share pictures of my family with my family or friends from afar.
Wait, that's originally what it was for.
Yeah. But since it started getting so toxic and I started learning about pedophilia and exploitation and everything, with this Instagram account I have now, I went back and I scrubbed all my kids off of it. And that took me like such a long time. But you have to be able to divorce yourself from, you know, your public persona and like, you know, your internal circle. And now I find myself when I'm trying to share pictures, I don't go on social media anymore. I'm texting them because I don't want the general public to see my personal life anymore.
Right. Yeah, and me personally, like compared to me and Rob, like Rob puts his whole life on social media, whereas like me, I put very little to nothing about my personal life on social media, from besides the business stuff. I have a personal, you know, Instagram, but I never post to it. Compared to Rob.
no, but like honestly though, now that I'm dating someone that has kids, one of the things that I commonly do is we take pictures kind of as a family, and I took the cutest picture of her daughter with pit vipers on this weekend, and I'm like, I don't think I can post this because like this is her kid, and like I talked to her about it, and you know, eventually I might post it just to tag Pit Viper because I think it would get reshared. But then at the same time, like trying to look at it from like a father like perception, maybe I don't want to exploit that kid that way. Like, or, you know what I mean? Like, I definitely don't want to link it to Stephanie's account because I don't want people to go to her page and like, you know what I mean? Like I kind of have tried to think about it that way where I'm not necessarily putting them on there, I guess.
No, I understand completely what you're saying because as a dad, and as I started going down to this rabbit hole of human trafficking and exploitation and everything, and just being in law enforcement for 2 decades plus now, knowing the people that are out there that are looking at these pictures,
Well, especially with what you did.
yeah,
But
that's the thing, man. Is like I find it tough when I love seeing people's families. I love seeing them, quote unquote, happy online. It's cool. But then it's like, I think about these other people that are out there. They're like, oh, that's a little kid. That's someone. Ooh.
Right. Well, I have a story about that actually. So someone I follow on social media is, his name is Roman Atwood, and he's a huge YouTube sensation. And he had a nightmare of a situation happen where he was, famous on YouTube, has like 15 million subscribers on YouTube, and he shares his whole entire life on YouTube. And some crazy hacker and follower started ruining his life, like hacking everything, where it was his bank accounts, his cars, his house, his social media, like everything, so much where he had to get the FBI involved. And he was off of social media completely 100% for over a year because of just social media, because someone wanted to take what he had. And it's crazy when it gets to that.
I think that happens more often than we think. Like there's so many cases of that happening where people are blackmailing people just because those individuals put their information out there. Like they make themselves vulnerable, essentially.
Yeah. And I think that's the downside of being a celebrity, or, internet personality, is you get those people, those stalkers, and they know everything about you because it's on the internet. And especially when you have kids, it's 100% worse.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to regret doing this whole coming out and writing books and doing all that other stuff. But sometimes I don't realize how many people I've talked to. And look right now, I mean, eventually what happens 3 years from now, if this video is still online and, Rob's running for Congress or Carla's somewhere and they look back and they pick apart any conversation we've ever had. That's the other thing about social media. Look, going back in tweets and scouring and data mining everybody's social footprint.
Look what happened with Trump. I mean, they went, or any celebrity in general, they'll go back 3-5 years and be like, oh, he said this 3-5 years ago. It's like, how does that affect him today? Like, just because he said this 3 to 5 years ago doesn't mean he's the same person today.
And you got people like Kevin Hart that were almost like taken down over stuff like that, about jokes, about freaking jokes that the guy
and
did.
He's a comedian. That's what he does.
Years ago. And they're saying that these are racial jokes so it's one of those things that whatever you're putting out there, like it could be thrown back in your face later for sure.
The original Eddie Murphy videos from the 80s.
Oh yeah, those are not allowed at all.
Just go back to Chappelle. Chappelle basically got canceled. Everybody gets
canceled. If the
canceled.
Chappelle show came on nowadays, it would be a train wreck.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I actually listened to the Chappelle show with Joe Rogan. He was on Joe Rogan and he was talking all about that.
I don't know, man. It's interesting times for sure. That's one thing that's really, this cancel culture. So let's just jump right into the good old fashioned. Oh, here we go. We got a comment. Shane Gillis gotten fired from that. Saying racy. 40 years to hire their first Asian cast member. That's the truth.
Yeah, I mean, but they don't look at it. They don't look at that.
No. Now let's talk about the most recent cancel culture. Black Rifle Coffee. So for everybody out there, Black Rifle Coffee somehow invited the New York Times out to one of their charity events, attempting to shine a light on their charitable activities. They started the Black Rifle Coffee Company Gives. I've had them on the show before talking about toxic exposure. They're very gracious when it comes to handing out money. But
it's a great company.
Yeah, it's a good company for that stuff, but the cancel culture. And if you look at the tweets and you look at the people going after them, you have to wonder how many are bots and how many are not. So that brings us into the cancel.
And how many of them get paid to go after them?
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to talk about, was bots and targeted harassment, targeted canceling. And when is enough enough?
Well, and especially like last year. Look at last year, for example, when all the riots and the stuff with cops were going on, and they were trying to defund the police and cancel the police, and the thing with police has been going on a long time, where the only thing they show is the bad side of everything. They never show, if a cop does good. They don't show that. Never. They only show if the second a cop gets out of line or does something wrong, they blast it everywhere.
It's
the same thing with guns. Same thing with guns. You never hear about the guy who had a gun who saved all these people, but the second a gun is used for bad, it's all over the internet.
I think social media just gives us too much power.
I agree.
It gives everybody too much. You always hear, like, if you said that to my face, I'd punch it. I'd punch you right in the face. And it's true. It's almost like road
warriors.
Think about yourself driving down the highway. Someone cuts you off. You cut them off. You're giving them the finger. Your rage is going through and you want to do anything to destroy them. Not that I would do that, but I'm just saying, like,
people get shot over it every day.
People get shot. Social media is just like that. Someone says something, and it's like, boom, they're all over it. They're all over it. They're ready to destroy their lives. It doesn't matter if, Black Rifle Coffee Company employs 500 or 600 people. I don't care if they're all veterans. We all know that not every veteran is legit 100% good to go.
Right.
That they're all good people. But let's say they employ 500 people, doesn't matter what they are. And you're going to cancel that culture because of something they said. And yes, they do market themselves as the bro vets, as, the gun culture and shooting guns and having fun and hunting or whatever. But it's branding. Why don't you go the other way and say, hey, you know what? I looked at Nike today and they tweeted something about, unity, but they're still running a slave camp.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And Nike's making trillions,
Yeah. Well, Nike was under the radar for a while when they had, I forget the guy who put his knee down during the national anthem.
Colin
Kaepernick.
Yeah, Kaepernick. Yeah, and then Nike teamed up with him, and then they were putting their huge scrutiny for that.
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing, doesn't it? So then it goes on either side. It can go left, it can go right, it can go middle.
Yeah.
Everybody's jumping on everybody. So where do we go? We got the cancel culture. How do you get rid of the cancel culture? And this is for the audience out there as well.
Can't.
You're never going to be able to. It's like I should really just call it the road rage culture. It's the interwebs rage.
Honestly, it's just going to get worse.
Yeah. I'm going to start seeing a lot more people getting away from social media. And I keep seeing these other platforms pop up. And that's the other thing. The other platforms popping up just turns into a stew of hate. It doesn't.
They don't last that long.
No.
There was one that I forget the name of it, but it came. I think it was Parler or something. Mm-hmm. It came on, and I don't know if it was like Facebook or somebody told them they weren't allowed to use their servers or something, and so they got shut down because they weren't allowed to. They basically shut them down because they have all the power, And if you have the power, you can control who uses your, sites.
Can we just go back to MySpace?
right?
It's
I like
music.
Good old
MySpace.
days.
It's got Halsey. She had Euphoric Birth. The Killers announced a new album.
Hey, they were still a band together.
Yeah, I thought they were gone.
It's not what it
They were
used to
gone.
be.
Right? I was in high school when the Killers came out.
Wow.
And they
Yeah,
were big.
this cancel culture that drives me nuts. So Black Rifle Coffee Company, and then you're making the CEO have to come out and do a speech about it, give a conversation for 9 minutes plus, explaining their situation. The media, what is that movie, Almost Famous? You guys ever see Almost Famous? Oh my
Nope.
gosh. Oh God.
Sorry.
Rob, help me out here. Almost Famous.
Didn't
Okay,
No.
for the old people out there who have seen Almost Famous, the media is not your friend. They're the enemy. And as someone who's written opinion pieces and articles and has been on the news and everything else, I know the media can be skewed. We know that, right? It's the same way with everything. And it's just like having reporters come to any charitable event, unless their background or you kind of know what their deal is, it's tough to actually think that they're going to write a positive piece about guys shooting arrows or guns with the intention of eventually shooting an animal or anything that's outside of their world that seems,
Hunters are put under a whole bunch of scrutiny just because people don't think that they should be doing it.
They would rather have harvested
I'd
animals.
rather go to the
factories.
grocery store and and it's like, do you realize where that food comes from?
Yeah, that's a whole other man. We have so many shows. Write these down. So,
Those are good topics. All right.
Bioengineered meat is what they want.
oh gosh,
Well,
I don't know.
A lot of it though is it's not the majority. You have a small percentage of people not to get political, but let's bring up politics on something. So you have people that have their beliefs on the left or the right, and then 90% of those people I can have a conversation with in a normal fashion. It won't get super heated. I like them. I like their family. They like me, etc. But then you have that small percentage that is so outspoken about polarizing to one side that, if you're a Trump supporter, you believe in the devil, or if you're a Biden supporter, you're an idiot because he's incompetent, or you know what I mean? But the reality is, the four of us probably have some sort of beliefs that are different, but we meet every couple weeks to do the show because I adore you guys like family. You guys are really good friends to me, and I don't have to agree with you 100% to be close to you or have effective communication, whereas you have that small percentage of people who get a keyboard and they're upset. Maybe they're mentally unstable and they're just spouting off. And then you got another, couple of people that follow that and expand on that. And it just keeps compounding and compounding. And then it sounds like a louder voice than it actually is.
I was just looking. There was this awesome. While you guys talk, I'm gonna look for it. It's like the best patch ever.
Yeah. And to expand on that even a little bit more, Joe Rogan constantly says on his podcast, he's like, if you had a room of 100 people, one person might be an idiot. It's just facts. There might be someone who has mental incompetency in some situation and or might be mentally unstable. So now you expand that and you give everyone free access to the internet. And, there's going to be 1 out of every 100 people that are going to be an idiot.
Hey, look, I found Rob's patch.
This is the best patch. If you look at it, it's a mouse. And the inside of it says, I read it on the internet, keyboard commando. It's like the best thing.
That's funny.
That's what Rob does for a living. No.
But to expand on what Rob was saying, I have a personal experience with that. Last year with the riots and everything going on, I lost around 40 followers on span a few months. And these were some people who I have known for 15 years, right? And they just straight up, like, as soon as they saw that, for example, I bought a rifle or I don't support this ideology or whatever, like, just the friendship went out the window. And it does make you think, like, is it really that easy to get rid of someone who you have known for years? But it is easy because it's social media. They wouldn't do that in person as opposed to Instagram where you can just click and unfollow.
Right. And on my side, with my business, during the heat of everything, we decided to come out with Fund the Police shirts just to spark controversy. And, we lost a lot of followers for that, but also gained a lot. And that's we sold probably close to 200 of those shirts just because of it's a controversial shirt and controversy sells. That's why, like Rob was saying, 90% of people don't think like that, but the 10% that do speak the loudest. So that's all you hear about.
Right. They're magnified online.
So then we have to ask, does someone, this is for you, hold on, let's put this back up here. Does someone from Black Rifle Coffee Company have a psychological operations background? Little reverse psychology.
Well,
find out who your real base
all
is.
Special operations.
There you go. Maybe this was some special operations, psychological operations type activity. Huh.
Could be.
There we go.
Yeah, you stir any type of drama on the internet, and it's going to create a spotlight. And whether that spotlight is negative or positive, you're going to attract attention to that company. So
they're getting it.
And, from my side, from running a business, it doesn't matter if people talk, trash about you or talk positive about you. You're still going to get traffic from it, no matter if it's good or bad, because traffic's traffic. Because if you go on social media and say you hate someone or something, you're going to have a lot of people going to check out that person, and they might like them and you don't, but you're sending them traffic no matter what.
That's a great point, because what do they always say? Any press is good press.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if it's bad publicity on your end. They're still getting the traffic. They still get sales. They still make money off of bad press, essentially.
Well, we got a lot of time, so anybody out there wants to have a little chat conversation with Rob, Austin, Carla, and me, just hop on into our comments below.
Right.
You can slide into my DMs.
Exactly.
I had to close my DMs recently.
Oh, whoa.
Whoa there. That's no good.
DMs are on lockdown now. Girlfriend didn't like all the DMs I was getting.
Oh, those kind of DMs.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like.
So you can still do business DMs then.
Yeah.
I can do business DMs, but I have to denounce have a girlfriend.
So everybody out there, while we're talking business, let's take a mid-conversation discussion and say, please take a look at Save Our Six, Vigilant and Humble, and Fight Like Hell podcast. Carla, what do you got going on?
Just my personal Instagram, which is right there.
And what does that mean?
Oh God, I should explain that. So once I got Instagram again, that was back in 2016. I made a new account and I had no idea what to name it, and I didn't want to put my personal name. So I got this manga book, those like Japanese comic books, and I opened it, and the character was wearing a shirt that said Pearl Deity. And I was like, oh, that's fitting. It's like Chaos God, and that kind of fits me in a sense. So I thought that was perfect. So that's how I got my name. I'm trying to change it though. So if you guys have any suggestions.
What are you trying to change it for?
Something more
fitting.
Professional.
No, I think it's fitting, Carla.
And just put your name if you want to do that.
Yeah, but I'm paranoid.
I do have to say, I would be paranoid as well. I mean, you're sharing your name here, but, in general.
My full name.
Yeah. I do want to bring up the Save Our Six and this freedom flag T-shirt.
That's
That he is
awesome.
wearing
I
right
love this freedom flag T-shirt. If you do sign up for the mailing list, you will get 10% off. So everybody, make sure you check out Save Our Six tonight. You can take a pause right now. You can watch us anytime.
They could also use FLH, and that's 20% off. That's for Fight Like Hell podcast, and that works on both Vigilant and Humble and Save Our Six.
Let's put that FLH. That up there for everybody. And then let's take a look at the old fashioned.
I like how it blocks out Austin's face. Ah, damn, leave that.
Okay.
Oh,
weird.
yeah.
Go
I'll just
back,
leave.
go
It's
back.
okay. I'll just leave.
And I do have one shirt right off of Austin's. It's the camo skull. This is my favorite shirt.
Yeah,
Memento Mori. Remember, you will die.
Mm.
So everybody, make sure you check out Vigilant and Humble and
And
Save
I'm
Our
completely
Six
redoing the site right now.
as we speak.
It's a great site.
There we go. And use code FLH. So yeah. Keep it, Carla. Keep your
Good.
name. Yeah, keep
That,
it.
doing
that
that.
red bearded guy is on here.
It's the red bearded guy.
Yeah, the red beard.
Yay.
Let's bring the red bearded guy. Oh, there's his real name. Everybody, put your,
Oh, shit.
your hand
no.
up.
He's on
Put your
Facebook.
hand up.
Cover it.
Cover
It's
it.
not
Cover
working.
it up.
How do we?
you just have to kind of just put the hand up there.
So I have a question for you, Jason. You've been on
Mhm.
social media for a while. What positives have you seen from social media?
Positives. Well, besides having different connections with different people, raising awareness, like the next thing up for me is I'm starting that trafficked. So I'll have a YouTube channel for that. I may do an Instagram, but I'll probably keep that within my own personal Instagram. But also raising awareness for causes that I believe in. Necessarily, like you guys have the businesses and stuff. I tried selling T-shirts and shit just so I could cover the cost
Right.
of the show. But overall, I like having that. Is it the instant feedback?
Instant
To make
gratification?
I wouldn't say gratification because, like with the shows and stuff, I look at it like, okay, so if I want to bring up a topic like child trafficking,
Mm.
I want to know that that's going to be a good topic to talk about. Or do people want to know about child exploitation? So I'm always putting feelers out there. And hence, which it turns into, it's like, hey, you know what? I need to do a whole separate YouTube channel and keep that a focus on that so it doesn't get lost in a minutia. Because that's one thing about social media. Carla, me, you, Rob, we're on social media 2 to 3 hours a day.
Oh, yeah.
We're missing a lot of content. We're posting a lot of content. So if you have a certain area where people could go to look,
Right.
that's perfect. And then I'm also, the other positive about it is, like, for me, I want to get a guest for the podcast. I'll find their social media, do a little background on them, find a contact and reach out to them through social media. Back in the day, you'd probably have to hire a booker. You'd have to
Yeah.
hire PR firms. Now you could do this all kind of on your own.
Yeah, you have to go to agencies and everything. I mean, I think there's a lot of positives for social media, and there's also a lot of negatives. I mean, but like I said before, though, you never hear about the positives. All you hear about is the negatives. Like we talked about before, the four of us wouldn't have been connected without social media.
Right.
Back in the day, growing up, just remember. The downside also now is look at cell phones, and nobody remembers phone numbers anymore.
No.
Growing up, you'd have set numbers remembered in your head, so if anything happened, you could call them. But now nobody knows anybody's numbers because it's in their phone. Nobody remembers anything. And nobody knows what pagers are, or when was the last time you used a payphone?
Yeah. Our rotary phone. When was the last time I used a rotary phone?
Those just don't exist. Who has a home phone anymore?
I know.
Unless you're like grandparent, maybe your grandparents have home phones, but that's about the only people who have home phones anymore.
Well, it's turning out that too is streaming, like cable's going out. I mean,
Oh yeah,
everything is like going,
it's Netflix.
and everything is
Netflix all the way.
yeah. Hulu,
Subscription based now.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then people get mad when Netflix raises its prices, but yet it's a supply and demand kind of thing.
Mhm.
If everybody wants to go to Netflix, they can charge more, and people are going to pay it because they're providing a service.
Oh, here we go. The bearded guy. Social media serves two purposes for me. Hold on, let me get my radio voice. Social media serves two purposes for me. It's the best way I've kept in contact with old military buds. I use it as an outlet to promote businesses, brands, and people I like, which to me is a stress reliever from my day job. Michael, was that good? It wasn't my best. It wasn't my best one, but yeah, it's the truth.
And I mean, like even with Mike, he knows Austin and I through both of our companies. He's purchased merch from us. He promotes our podcast. He promotes so many things, and then he ended up moving to Wyoming, and him and I have hung out twice now. Like we went camping for a weekend together. So like it goes back into the aspect that Austin and I try to bring up a lot on our podcast is that we look at more of the positives that we get out of social media, where we get to connect with incredible people. Like, I mean, I'm friends with all you guys because of it. And, I've made plans to like do things with people because of it. And it goes beyond just promoting the business. Like it's a connection point. And I think that's insanely important for mental health.
Big time.
Yeah. And I think especially the whole military thing. I mean, when you're in the military, you connect with so many different people throughout the whole world, and you would never be able to basically keep tabs on them or keep track of them. Be able to keep friends when you're out of the military if it wasn't for social media.
I really, when you bring up the mental health aspect of it, it's huge. I've been able to open up all about every dark day I've had and be more open about booze, about mental health, about suicide, about anything. I've been able to talk about it with just people, because that's the other ways. If I could talk about it, maybe it'll help someone else. So it gives me the outlet to actually try to help other people while helping myself.
Right.
Yeah. And it's all about building a community and having a community behind you that's willing to help. Like, Rob's whole, organization is about mental health and building a community of people.
I think it's getting easier. We were talking about before, is social media going to be dead? I don't think it is. I think what's going to happen is
just evolve.
It's going to evolve. And I think all these these wannabes, the fakers out there. Look at last week, that guy that was God, was it? I can't remember what his name is, but he was like acting like a Green Beret for years, and he finally got called out about it. I'm gonna look up his Travis Raids or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
I never heard about it. I never heard that.
Yeah, he was like a big time influencer. I think what's going to happen is you're going to start seeing
the name sounds familiar.
You're going to start seeing this influencer tag go away. I think people are going to be like, influencer.
I know a lot of people that are, quote unquote influencers hate that term because it's a derogatory term, But then again, that's also, one of the benefits of social media is you can make a living off of social media now. I mean, look at like TikTok and YouTube and Instagram, and you can make a living off of being a influencer or personality on any platform.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, I mean, hey, each your own. Or look at I forgot his name. Hold on, I'll have to look it up.
Is it someone you pay a subscription for on OnlyFans?
Yeah.
No, that's only for you, Rob.
Yeah.
Rob, you got an OnlyFans?
I was told by a couple of people, mainly gay guys, that I should start an OnlyFans, and I did not partake in it.
Oh, okay, whatever. You know?
I mean, each to their own, you know.
Yeah, I like that idea. It should be less personal, more business. I agree with that for sure. And then you like what, that's where you build like a network together outside of the social media. Use it to make the contacts, make friends. But yeah, I think a lot of it has to be, you have your personal networks and you scrub the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean, we'll look at people like the person I was thinking was like Graham Allen, who started on Facebook, just doing short little videos on Facebook, and now now he does it all. He made his living from doing little videos on Facebook, starting off on Facebook. And now he has TV shows and podcasts,
Yep.
and he has everything, and he's a huge personality for, politics.
Yeah, absolutely. So many of them, like the vehicle rant. How many started out doing the vehicle rant and they became huge influencers,
Yeah, I mean, look at how many artists were discovered on YouTube or Vimeo or some other subscription or video service, and like look at Justin Bieber. I mean, he started on YouTube. He posted a video on YouTube and got found by Usher, and now he's a multi-millionaire. And another thing to bring up is, it's all about entertainment. If you can entertain people or provide knowledge to people, you're gonna be successful. Because that's what social media is people just want to be entertained, or they want to be able to learn stuff.
The Paul brothers,
literally. I mean, they started out on YouTube, and now look where they're at.
I mean, it's crazy.
The Jonas Brothers, right?
Paul brothers.
Paul brothers. Paul brothers. Jake Paul, Logan Paul.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's how they started. I mean, is on YouTube.
And they literally sold, I think it was the third most expensive pay-per-view in pay-per-view history for an expedition fight. It's ridiculous.
And they got another fight coming up next month.
Yeah. Yeah, which provides conversation for Austin and I when we have our guests on, because we talk about all current events that are going on in fight world or whatever.
Well, I mean, look at Conor McGregor. The only reason Conor McGregor is as successful as he is because he's an entertainer. He's a showman. He's a good fighter, but he sells tickets because he puts on a show. Especially right before the fights, all he does is put on a show and gets people riled up. And that's why he sells so many tickets.
I got to do a test real quick. Everybody out there, this is a test. I'm putting something. I want to try this for when I do live streams.
I'll see it. It says test. Buy me a coffee.
Buy me a coffee.
I've heard about that.
Yeah. Let's see if that. That's so when I start doing live shows, later on, I want to support the show. What I'll do is I'll do buy me a coffee, and then people could buy me a coffee. So instead of telling people, give me $20 a month.
What about super chats on YouTube?
I don't know how to do super chats. I have access.
I don't need to. You'd have to look. Yeah, because I mean that's a lot of. I know most people who do lives do super chats, and then people just pay you. I don't know what commission YouTube takes though.
I wonder if I think I actually have to log into YouTube while we're doing this too.
Yeah, and I have no idea. That'd be something to look into though.
I think we have to get Michael on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's about time
because we can have up to 100 people on there, or 26 people. I don't even know. It's crazy.
I think it'd be way too many.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. For the book club, I want to get more people on there. Everybody, if we don't have any more comments and everything out there, make sure you like and subscribe. We'll do a little quick go around the table here in a minute, but make sure you click like, subscribe, or whatever with the show. I like growing this YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff. I like having these conversations every other week with you guys. Really appreciate it. Everybody out there, thanks for joining us tonight. Let's go around the room. Rob, what do you got? What's your final thoughts?
I would like to end with just saying that social media is literally the reason why we're all here tonight. And, without the social media connections that we found through Instagram, it wouldn't have helped my company grow. It wouldn't help me connect with all three of you guys. And I try to take the positives more than the negatives.
I like that. I like that. Carla?
Well, in reference to what Austin had said about like Instagrams or any social media that's informative, like it's very important. And recently, one of my favorite Instagram accounts, Atlas News, they got like completely deleted just because they have extreme content. Although it's not extreme, they literally just post news. So this kind of censorship is a problem, and I think we have to look into that. We should probably have a whole podcast about censorship next time.
Yeah, it's huge.
I absolutely agree that is one of the best topics we could talk about. Let's pencil that in for 2 weeks from now.
We'll do.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, I
What do you
mean-
got, brother?
And I definitely agree with what both you guys are saying. I mean, social media, like everybody looks at the negative of social media, but nobody looks at the positive of social media. And like Rob was saying, we wouldn't be connected if it wasn't for social media. I mean, we all three of us have social media for a reason, whether it's personal, business. I mean, the fact that you can make a living off of social media nowadays, I think is huge.
Yeah, and I'm going to say the same thing. This was a very enlightening conversation with me because I sometimes forget and I sometimes want to cancel myself off of this social media stuff because just after a while, it's kind of draining.
Yeah,
But
and
then you
I
have
definitely
decent
think I think it's good to take breaks off of social media for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, because
absolutely.
there's times you can get overwhelmed with social media, and and all you see is negative things on there. So it's definitely important to take a break from social media at times.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to leave it off there. Everybody, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you in about 2 weeks. Make sure you're following all of us on social media, and then like and subscribe. Also, check out the Protectors Podcast. Sometimes all these episodes are going to go up on the Protectors Podcast as well, and I'm going to share the audio with you guys too. If you want to put it up on yours, feel free.
Yeah.
And thank you everybody for joining us tonight.